Well, with a new season of the CDL upon us, we're starting off with some sad news. What's going on, guys? Jay Hoyt back with you today. Welcome back to the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 beta. We're back here on Derelict. I still don't really know how to pronounce it. We're playing some Hardpoint though. Still on the beta, of course. So full game comes out. Oh gosh, it's what? That's Friday, something like that. So we got a couple days away from the beta. But as I just got home, right? It's Wednesday afternoon. You guys probably see on Thursday. Sad news came across my Twitter feed, and that was from none other than the legendary player Clayster. Now, Clayster, one of the greats of all time, right? 3-time world champ. I think he's what, 20-time champion, 3-time world champion, and overall one of the GOATs, one of the guys in the Mount Rushmore. Just one of those iconic players that officially announced he is retiring. Now, of course, Clayster used to be one of the best players in the game, one of the best ARs, you know, back when like Formal, Crim 6, who were the other guys there? But there was a bunch of just really good assault rifle players that he was in the conversation of being arguably one of the best in the game. And in his long, almost 30 minutes, I just got finished watching it. 30 minutes, basically, he kind of talked about his career, a lot of the moments, you know, how he got to, you know, certain teams or how he got started, and kind of talked about what it went into the decision of it. And for once, right, a player didn't say, oh, I was tired of scrimming, I was tired of doing this, I wanted to start a family, you know, I would, no, right, I think he's in a relationship, but, you know, he has his own house and everything, but a lot of people that play COD, I don't want to say the argument, but the reasoning's always like real life. It always gets in the way, right? Like, especially when you're, I think he's around 30, maybe 31, 32, somewhere in there. But at that point, of course, like, you know, not everybody, but most people, you know, want to start families. They want to start, you know, moving on from the COD scene. And, you know, some people stay in and become full-time streamers or, you know, switch into coaching or analyst or, you know, work for the league or whatever. But he actually said in this video that he didn't ever get tired of scrimming, which is like the one thing I always hear, you know, in these retirement videos. It was like they hated getting on the grind and getting on to scrim every day and just got tired of it. And he actually said like he still enjoyed that, right? Which was something you don't hear. And you know, the amount of teams he's been on and, you know, was at the top with Dallas Empire, with the New York Subliners, really wasn't the super top, but, you know, was, you know, up there for sure. And then going, you know, kind of after that was he never really got back up to that superstar level, right? He kind of changed his almost role in a way where instead of being like the superstar player and being that number one guy, getting the stats, but also being a leader, was he kind of let everybody else shine. And once you kind of get to that point, it's so hard to come back from. And especially when Karma stepped down, it's kind of a similar situation, was once you stop playing or kind of announce you're retiring or announce you're taking a step back, very, very rarely do you ever come back. And I'm not just talking about a coaching role or, you know, still in the scene or on the desk, but like come back and play full time. Now, sometimes it happens, right? Something happens at like the start of the year, and then all of a sudden, you know, real life takes big priority there, and you have to focus on whatever it is. And in this case, like, I don't know what it was, but in the CDL era, very rarely, I feel like, did players actually get picked up that deserved it. And not that other players didn't deserve it, but you see a lot of players that don't show a lot that get picked up, or young talent that gets picked up, and they kind of show, a little bit of something, but they don't have kind of the full package of what it takes to be, a Call of Duty pro. And players like Clayster, or you look at the benches of a lot of these teams, and you see a lot of players that used to be, on very good teams and, argue to be very good players as well. And instead, players are picking up, either their friends or players that you may not have ever really heard of, or they did well a little bit, but still, kind of weren't great, or it just seemed like it turned into a friendship league more than a let's just get the best team regardless if that's your friend or not. And given that this year in this CDL, there will most likely be, similar to last year, a top 4 teams that will be very solid, or 3 kind of super teams. Then after that, you might have another couple that are pretty good, but maybe don't perform as, expected. And then after that, you're going to have some teams that just suck. And, that's kind of the hard part about only having the 12 teams, that they're so limited that if you're not on one of those, I don't want to say super teams, but on those super teams, like, you're going to have a rough time. Plain and simple, you're going to have a rough time. You might be able to compete with kind of the middle of the pack to the bottom of the pack teams, but once you face off against those top teams and you just can't compete anymore, and then you just stick around, because now with contracts and buyouts and, all of this stuff is like, before, if things were going well after a few events, or that, you kind of messed up with the roster decisions, like, you could just drop whatever player you felt like and picked up just somebody, right? Or if you see a guy that's performing very well on a bottom team, that you can now pick them up and make your new team. But anymore is like, if once you're not in the COD League, it's like very hard to get on a team, or at least the atmosphere that's been created with the CDL and with challengers is like, people would rather play in challengers than play on a bottom CDL team. And that's just absolutely incredible, right? Imagine someone being like, I don't want to be on the best hockey team. I'd rather, instead of playing the worst team, I'd rather play in the AHL. Now, if you guys know sports or know, references, right? So it's NHL versus AHL, so league underneath. Or there's not really, one of those in football, but baseball being like, instead of playing the MLB on a bad team, I'll play in AAA. Or basketball, I guess playing the G League would be your, similar comparison. Or, soccer to be put on loan to a lower team in a lower league. I mean, there's a lot of, hopefully you know what I'm talking about, right? So a lot of players would just, if they'd rather play in challengers. And I don't understand why, but, you're in the CDL, like, in that case. Like, why would you want to be on a bad team? So everyone's worried about each other's stock and, what you still in the tank. And, if you look at Clayster kind of as an unbiased source here, 3-time world champ, 20-time champion, leadership mentality, puts the team first, wants to win, but understands that, you won't necessarily be that number 1 team early, instantly. Like, you got to work towards it, and compete with with the team, and, put each other all on the same page and, provide that leadership role. But for whatever reason, that has kind of gone away in the last little bit of COD, and it really sucks to lose a player like Clayster that provides so much to the scene and leadership, and someone that I definitely know would be, a great coach, be a great GM, be a great team builder, and it's just really sad to see him go, because, I mean, I'd have to actually look at, the full kind of, COD rosters, but that era of Call of Duty that when I first started is almost all gone. And it's kind of sad to think about that the era of like Scump, Crim 6, Formal, Karma, those big names are no more. And now you have some new faces in there, but man, losing a big, big piece like Clayster from the CDL will be huge. So I guess message to him, if you ever see it, congratulations. I know I responded to you on Twitter, but heck of a career, right? 20 times I think it is champion. I mean, on here it says 18 times tournament champ, 3-time world champion, 2015, 2019, 2020, X Games gold medalist, 2015 champs MVP, and $1.2 million in tournament earnings. So that's just incredible, right? For a career to be that successful and kind of reach a peak so long ago, and then, you know, still trying to compete after so long is absolutely incredible to see. Congrats again on the retirement. I can't wait to see what's next for you. Man, that's a tough one. But either way, guys, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, guys, we'll see you